Vaping or e-cigarettes have been marketed as a breakthrough in getting people off cigarettes. The idea is people switch to vaping, getting their nicotine hit in a similar way to cigarettes, one that makes them feel as though they're still smoking, and then transition away from vaping so that sometime later they've quit vaping and they're leading a healthier lifestyle. That's the idea. With tobacco companies so convinced it will be the future, they are already talking about a full transition for their businesses. They're adamant it's good for customers. Vaping, the inhaling of liquid vapours rather than smoke and all the chemicals that come with it, appears to be better for your health. But that's been hard to be definitive about, with widespread use only having begun in recent years. And now there's a question mark hovering over vaping. Since March this year in the US, there have been 34 deaths from vaping from what's described as a mysterious lung infection. Nobody really knows what is happening here. Patients are getting chest pain, shortness of breath, vomiting and in some cases dying. There is speculation water vapours inside the lungs could be a factor. They're not meant to have that inside there. What does this all mean for Australia? Well, we have a very different environment to the US. In the US, the THC compound being linked to many of the deaths so far, although it's only early in the investigation, and this is the ingredient in marijuana that makes you high, this is not legal in e-liquids in Australia. In fact, in Australia, you can't even get nicotine in e-liquids to vape. Health Minister Greg Hunt has stood firm against intense lobbying to legalise nicotine vaping, including from within his own party. He's cited a whole host of evidence, including that in the US, children are taking it up in huge numbers. And it's a gateway to the very thing for those children it's supposed to stop in adults, smoking cigarettes. But in Australia, you can be prescribed nicotine e-liquid as a way to get off smoking. Given unexplained deaths in the US, should that be paused? Should it be reviewed more closely? We asked the Shadow Health Minister this week.
I would expect and I would have trust that the government would only act on the very best medical advice. I mean, I don't think it's a matter best traversed through the media, in a political way. If the government has medical evidence, I'm sure they would act upon it.
So non-committal, if there's evidence out there, certainly would be considered by Chris Bowen. A spokesperson for the Health Minister has told Sky News Australia has some of the toughest laws in the world. Matters on regulation safety are determined by the Therapeutic Goods Association, and Minister Hunt has asked the TGA to review the status and safety of e-cigarettes. That last comment of particular interest. There are no recorded deaths from vaping in Australia just yet. And Sky News understands nicotine e-liquid prescriptions from doctors are relatively rare, but it's not known if even vaping without nicotine, with simply flavoured vapes out there, which any adult can legally do in Australia, could be doing serious harm. If the mysterious lung illness begins to show up here, you can bet pressure will be on the government to take more immediate action. One to keep an eye on.